Our loans are usually unsecured.
Kuleta ngombe,
uhitaji kutafuta sijui garanta sijui nani unless maybe credit yako si poa. Unajua saa zingine, by the way, so it's a very important thing kwa saa zingine wakuta a lot of people hapa mtu hata anakataa kulipa like 200 shillings ama dhao unawekwa kwa CRB. Today you really want to go and study, for example, for a master's program.
Yes.
The things that you really have to worry about most is the cost and the kitu inaitwa visa. So enda shule kama akina Harvard, Stanford, those are very very expensive. But shule tu yenye as in shule poa wewe but ni affordable by US standards, it will cost you around $30,000 to $40,000.
Yes, that's close to 5 million.
Yeah, so if you do the math, that's almost 5 million. Hiyo mzigo yote umesikia tukisema hiyo yote you basically don't have to figure out utatoa hiyo pesa wapi. Hiyo pesa yote ya relocation it's about $5,000 which would equate to around maybe 800 750.
Yes.
So what we do in the Kenya Airlift program, we basically help you in financing that whole process.
Inakuwaje tuango nguvu. Mimi naitwa presenter Ali, your entertainment PA. The A is always for amazing siku zote. Natia bidii kuhakikisha kwamba nakuletea stories tofauti, and today we want to have an amazing conversation with one Bob Mwiti. Are you a student, or do you know a student who actually wants to pursue higher education, you know, away from Africa, that is in the US, in the UK? Yes, today we have a solution for you, na nimekuja kupiga naye story, of course tuweze kujua all about the Kenya Airlift program, how does it work, and if someone is actually interested, you know, in being part of the Kenya Airlift program, what are the procedures, you know, you're going to use to be able to do that. Lakini kabla tuzungumze sana, wacha Mr. Bob introduce. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Bwana Ali?
Yeah, niko salama kabisa. Safari imekuwa nzuri?
Safari imekuwa poa. I just came the other day.
Yes.
Nilikuwa na safari refu sana. Kutoka all the way from Florida mpaka hapa Nairobi. Took like almost 2 days with delays here and there. But tuko hapa tu.
Wow. Karibu nyumbani.
Nimefika tu just the other day, so I'm just trying to acclimatize. Kuna kabaridi kidogo.
Yeah, kuna kabaridi Nairobi. It's July by the way. Kwa mtu ambaye pengine anakutazama mara ya kwanza ama kuna watu niko sure wanakujua, lakini for someone who's seeing you for the first time, tell us, who is Bob Mwiti?
So Bob, mimi ni mwenyeji wa, I live in Florida, in the US, but actually I'm originally from Kenya. Mimi ni jamaa kutoka huko Mount Kenya, East pande za Meru. Meru huko kwa Mira sasa huko. Huko ndiko home. I grew up there in Meru County, in the village actually. I grew up in a place called Gikumene I grew up in a place called Gikumene. I went to a school called Gikumene Primary School, which is basically like a village shule tu zile za
shule ya village tu yani.
Ile tu mnaenda viatu, amna viatu kwa shule, that kind of life.
You know, just like any normal kid.
Just like any normal kid.
African kid.
Normal African kid. Yeah, so I grew up in with my grandparents. So when I was born, my mom and dad were in school.
Yes.
So I was basically born by teenage parents. So my dad was in Form 2. My mom sijui alikuwa amemaliza like, I think those days ilikuwa like class 7 or something. Yeah, so nikazaliwa. I never really had a chance of living within one of them.
Yes.
So nikapelekwa tu kwa my grandparents. So hao ndio walinilea.
Hao wengine wakiendelea na masomo.
My dad went ahead akasoma, akaendelea all the way to university, but I was never really part of his life.
Yes.
Yara sikuwa namjua. So I grew up knowing my grandparents. I thought they were my parents actually.
Yes.
Yeah, so and then my mom, I think after like maybe 4 years hapo akaolewa somewhere else. So I don't even recall actually even living with my mom. Yeah, so I grew up with my grandparents. They were a very humble family, you know. Ile tu family tu za kawaida. Yeah, so I went to the local primary school here Gikumene. In school I was very good in school. So in 1997, that's when I did my KCPE. I did quite well. I had scored a plain A, mean grade in KCPE, and I got an opportunity to go to Nairobi school.
Yeah.
Lakini sababu ya shida za pesa. Poverty, my friend.
It's no joke.
No joke, eh?
Yes.
Me, I always say like there's no glory in poverty, eh?
True, kweli.
Bana. So I couldn't go to Nairobi school, so my grandparents ended up finding me a school in Meru called Nkobo High School.
Nkobo.
Nkobo, pretty nice school actually. Nkobo.
Nkobo. Yes.
Yeah, so nikaenda Nkobo form 1, form 3 mpaka form 4.
Yes.
With a lot of struggles, the school fees. Then nikamaliza 2001.
Yes.
I scored a B+. Nikaitwa University of Nairobi kufanya BSc Mathematics. Nilikuwa hapa Chiromo.
Wow.
So before nikuje university, in my last year ya high school, nilikuwa na a lot of school fees issues. So we got to a point where my grandparents wakasema, hey, they need to find a way of seeing how they can get in touch with my dad.
Yes.
Now by that time, my dad alikuwa amemaliza university. Sinakwambia sasa mimi nilizaliwa alafu akaendelea
na masomo.
So akaendelea na masomo, mimi sikuwa part of his life. But later on akamaliza shule, akamaliza university, akapata kazi hapa and then he left for the UK. Akaenda Majuu. And that decision kwenda Majuu, it's really what changed also my life completely in a way later on.
Yeah.
So nikiwa form 4. Nilikuwa na shida school fees. So my grandpa, he had actually to find a way of, to figure out how to clear my balance so that I can be registered for KCSE.
Yes.
And that's how we ended up looking for my dad. And my dad somehow find out kwenye ako UK. And we reached out and he came into my life.
Yes.
And my life changed.
Wow.
From there on. From this kid who had nothing, struggles, kila kitu, to like the richest kid in school.
So he was, wow. So out there in the UK, he was literally living well.
Yeah. Alienda UK in 96. He was doing pretty well. Kaanza businesses. He's a businessman. So even by the time I was getting into his life, he was doing fine. Alafu sasa unajua sasa kutoka hapo sasa ni mambo na pounds sasa.
Ukitumiwa aingi Kenya shillings.
Bala, unajua sasa before then hata kwenda shule. Ukifungua, mimi grandi alikuwa ananipea so moja. Na hiyo ndio fare kutoka kwetu mpaka huko Nkobo. Unapewa so moja, hiyo ndio utanunua sijui ndawa meno sijui nini. Bana. That's the life. Sisi tukifunga shule, mimi nilikuwa tulikuwa saa zingine unaenda kulima. Kulikuwa na our MP. Those days alikuwa anaitwa Mwiraria. Alikuwa actually finance minister time ya Kibaki. Tulikuwa naenda kulima huko. Saa zingine ndio upate ka kitu.
Ndio upate ka pocket money.
Ka pocket money. Unajua saa zingine kama umekuwa kijana, you don't have to rely on your parents all the time. Especially kama umegrow up na hiyo hustle.
Yes.
Hivyo ndivyo tulikuwa, but sasa when my dad came into my life, things changed completely.
Wow.
Mngaro kutumua kutoka UK. Luku kutoka UK. Ni za majuu. Alafu mimi nilikuwa mshamba. Unatumia nguo zingine hata ujui venye utazivaa. Na viatu. Yeah, so me stories za kwenda Majuu, it's actually my dad and alianza hiyo story. Hiyo vibe ya, hey, you know what, I would like you to go to the UK.
Yes.
Hizo vitu zote. And that's really how my journey ya kwenda Majuu ilianza. So mimi initially, my dream was to come to Nairobi.
Ulitamani sana?
Yani mimi nilikuwa dream yangu ilikuwa kuja Nairobi because when I was growing up sikuwahi toka Meru. Because I came to Nairobi for the first time ikiwa high school. I used to participate kwa inzinitangwa music festivals. Hiyo ikanileta mpaka KICC. Nationals. Nilikuja huko mpaka nini. So that's the first time I came to Nairobi. And nakumbuka even when I was when we were choosing, unajua tukua class 8 mna choose shule kwenye utaenda. So me when I was choosing national schools, sikuwa hata kuchoose akina sijui Mangu, sijui akina Alliance. I specifically chose Nairobi school. Because of the name Nairobi. So I was very sure.
Hii iko Nairobi.
Hii iko Nairobi na nitaenda huko.
Hizi zingine siwezi.
Siwezi nini jaribu zingine kwa sijui Mangu iko. Inaweza kuwa Kiambu na Kiambu sijui kama iko mbali na Nairobi. That's how I was.
Wow.
Actually, that's how I ended up going to Nairobi School. I mean, getting the admission in Nairobi School,
later,
which of course I couldn't now go because of
school fees, yeah.
School fees. So my dream was Nairobi. So me kwenda sijui maju US, never thought I would do that. But my dad came into my life. Alafu yeye akaanza hiyo nini, akaanza kuniambia how how I can go to the UK. So initially plan yetu ilikuwa niende UK.
Yeah.
Sasa venye nimaliza tu KCSE hivi nikaanza hiyo process ya kwenda.
Yes.
Little did I know that the process would be so long, and there would be a lot of disappointments along the way.
Okay.
Which is usually actually what really happens to a lot of people when watakanga kwenda majuu, and they even unakuta mtu anadhaningi as in ukianza tu kusikia you want to study abroad, it's like a straightforward thing.
Ni kama kutafuta fare peke yake.
Alafu wewe ndio hivyo umeenda. Yeah, but I started the process first time kwenda embassy nikanyimwa visa.
Yes.
Nikaenda tena nikanyimwa visa. That time nikaenda nikanyimwa visa. Mara 4 nikaenda nikanyimwa visa. So it took me the 5th attempt ndio nilipata visa ya kwenda America.
Wow.
So initially I wanted to go kusoma UK. Nilikuwa nimepata admission huko London, University of what? Kufanya software engineering. Those days software engineering kwa imeshika sana. So that sasa after kunyima visa nikaendelea hapa Nairobi Uni, but also Nairobi Uni nilisoma like about 3 months. Alafu my dad akasema because Nairobi Uni tuli strike after kuingia tu hiyo mwaka. My dad akaniambia we jaribu kutafuta shule nyingine nikupeleke. That's how I ended up going to Strathmore University. So mi nilienda Strath 2004, nikafanya makozi zingine hapo zinaitwa ICCAs, more or less like accounting courses. Sasa nikaanza degree huko. Nikafanya BCom, accounting and finance. Nika graduate 2008 with a second class upper division. Alafu sasa hapo by that time nilikuwa nimenyimwa visa, alafu sasa nika decide let's try the US for my masters. Na hapo sasa ndio nilijaribu US in 2009. Nikapata visa.
Ukafanikiwa sasa.
Nikafanikiwa the 5th attempt ya kutafuta visa, and that's how I ended up going to the US. So nilienda shule inaitwa Indiana University of Pennsylvania kufanya MBA in professional accountancy. 2009 until 2011.
Wow, that's quite a journey. I mean, you never thought you're going to end up there.
Me, I never thought I would end up in the US in the first place because my dad alikuwa huko UK. So effort yangu initially ilikuwa UK. But sasa venye vitu hazikukuwa nini, so tuka shift focus, nikasema let me try the US. And that's how I ended up going to the US.
Is there a way, you can say that whatever you are doing right now at Kenya Airlift Program, of course you're going to explain to us what it is later, but is there a way it is related to your journey? Is there a way it was inspired by your journey?
Actually, yes, because in fact, actually, for me to start the Kenya Airlift Program, it was out of my own personal challenges, what I went through. So before even we get there, maybe I can give you a little bit of some background. So venye nilienda US as a kama student, so me, I was just happy that I had just gotten the visa. But then again, unajua ukienda huko majuu as a student, and if you want to stay there, which is what really a lot of people out there want to do, unataka kutoka huku, you go there, look for opportunities that are there. You have to figure out a lot of things. It's not just a matter of where kupata visa alafu uende. Because when you get there, when you graduate, how do you stay there? So those are some of the things that I really didn't know when I left here. So I was just happy that I had gotten the visa. But sasa venye nilienda huko, before graduating, nikaanza kurealize, hey, I need to do this. I need to do this.
To survive.
If I want to stay there and look for a job, I can't stay on a student visa. I have to figure out how do you transition kutoka student visa into now being on a work visa. So what I did, because me nilikuwa background yangu ilikuwa business. Nilikuwa nimefanya BCom hapa. So when I went huko sasa na nilikuwa karibu kugraduate, nilianza kuangalia nikaona chances zangu za kupata kazi poa sana, they were not lying kwa skill yenye nilikuwa nayo as in what I had done before because nilikuwa nimefanya BCom hapa, nilikuwa nimeenda kufanya MBA huko. Nika realize very quickly the best bet yangu kuweza kukaa huko na kupata makaratasi ya kukaa huko legally ni kuingia kwa technology space. And I was introduced into that space by some of my colleagues in my MBA class. Waindi tu, hata si wa Afrika, Waindi. My classmates. Unaona mtu anamaliza wanapata makazi. Nawauliza, how come you guys are getting jobs? So akaniambia, hey, you know what, you can be trained on this kind of skills. This is IT, nini, and that's how I ended up getting into the technology space. Nika pivot kidogo kutoka kwa business whatever, kaingia kwa IT. And that's how I got into the corporate world. Nikapata job as a systems analyst. I used to work for Fortune 500 companies. For about 5 years. In fact, actually that's how, because shule yangu kwenye nilikuwa nasoma state inaitwa Pennsylvania. The school was Indiana University of Pennsylvania. The city ilikuwa inaitwa Indiana, very small town. But sasa venye nilipata job, nikaenda Tampa, Florida, which is the place that I've been living for the last 11 years. So mimi sasa venye niliingia kwa hiyo technology space, I realized there was a lot of opportunities and really good, well-paying jobs. Because when I was working there, by the time I quit the job, unakuta ni job yenye ilikuwa inanipea over 1M kama salo. And I realized there was not really a lot of our people in the space. Unakuta most of the people working with me walikuwa wazungu, Wahindi most of the time. So I felt like we needed a lot of our people. I needed to see a lot of our people into that space. And that's when I started thinking of just me starting my own thing, man. Also niko na hiyo damu ya nini, hiyo damu ya entrepreneurship. So after 5 years, I quit the job. In 2017. So I started my own consulting company. Tulianza tu kama technology company. But within a very short time I realized that, because initially mimi nilikuwa nataka tu kutrain watu waingie kwa technology space, watu wenye wako huko tu America. But I realized very quickly that sikuwa napata the right talent yenye nilikuwa nataka. So I started thinking of how can I maybe try to figure out where else can I be able to get this talent. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, hey, look, I went to the US as a student. There's a lot of problems, a lot of bright Kenyans, Africans, a lot of problems they face, those who want to go to the US. And I felt like, what if I try to solve their problems? And since I came there as a student, and I know those challenges za kukuja, hiyo process ya kukuja, it took me so many years, getting denied visa so many times, you know, finding schools, which school you want to go to, you know, and the biggest of them all, finding the money. Because mimi unajua, mimi nikienda huko, pesa ikuwa shida sana because my dad alikuwa amekuja kwa life yangu. But the fact that I grew up in poverty, me I tasted poverty ile azin unajua shida, yani mtu kama ana pesa shida yenye anakuanga nayo. So I knew that. So I was like, there must be a lot of very bright Kenyans, Africans out there who would love to come to America, and they don't have the money, and they don't know how to, because that also, that process, you know, it's a process, not just, you don't just wake up today and decide, oh, you know, I want to go abroad. It's a long process, you need to know a lot of things. So I was like, I think I can solve that. And that's how actually the Kenya Airlift program was born. So in 2018, nikaanza program just before COVID, and since then, that's what I've been doing until today.
That is quite interesting. Looking at how you figured out, you know, from your challenges to it inspiring you to actually starting your own, you know, thing and helping students go study abroad. But I want to understand, because you're mentioning and saying that the amount of money that is needed is quite high. Maybe you can put it in figures, ndo watu waweze wakaelewa.
Okay, good. So when I like talking about the process of going and studying abroad, I normally try to really break it into very simple components, so that maybe whoever is watching out there, they can easily understand. So I normally try to break it out into the cost and the visas. As in, if today you really want to go and study for example, for a master's program,
Yes.
the things that you really have to worry about most is the cost and the kitu inaitwa visa. So when it comes to the cost, there's two components, the cost. There's one which is the relocation cost.
Yes.
And there's also the cost of tuition and living expenses. So when you talk about the relocation cost, it basically means cost ya kutoa wewe hapa kwenye uko ndio ufike America ama ufike Canada or wherever you are going.
Yeah.
And then your cost ingine ya tuition and living expenses ni cost ya kusoma sasa. Yeah, school fees, books, whatever, bills, you know, kwenye utakaa, all those things. So when it comes to the cost of tuition and living expenses, typically a very affordable for example, a very affordable master's program in a state university kama yenye nilikuwa nimeenda, not very like really top schools. Unajua kama unataka kwenda shule kama kina Harvard, Stanford, those are very very expensive. But shule tu yenye as in shule poa wewe, but ni affordable by US standards, it will cost you around $30,000 to $40,000.
Yes. That's close to 5 million.
Yeah, so if you do the math, that's almost 5 million. Because a master's program, for example, I went for a master's. A master's program will take you about 18 months. So if you do the math, you actually need about 5 million Kenya shillings.
Wow.
Kusoma masters, sasa venye nilikuwa ameenda kusoma.
That's the whole program, like 18 months?
18 months, sasa masters.
5 million.
Yeah, 5 million. How many Kenyans have 5 million?
Wow, that's crazy. That's a lot of
That's
money.
a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah, not many people have that kind of money. So you need that. Now, that's the tuition and living expenses pande hiyo.
Yes.
Tulisema cost tunai break into two.
Yes.
So there's also this other piece, yeah, relocation.
Yes.
So when you talk about the relocation, what exactly it means is cost yenye inakuwa na associated na hiyo jani yako ndio at least ufike America uanze masomo.
Yes.
And that involves one, cost ya kuapply to the schools. Okay? For example, kama unataka kwenda like the school that I went to, you have to submit your application. Na your application, the school actually charges you for that so that they can have a look at it.
Yes.
Typically, depending on the school that you're applying to, in a cost between 50 to 150.
Kenya shillings, eh?
No. Dollars. $50 to $150.
Okay. Okay.
50 to
I thought 50K.
$150.
Okay,
Hapa tunaongea into dollars.
Okay,
I'll have to convert. Ama tuite mwalimu wa maths.
Mcheze na calculator. Ufungue tu ile calculator ya simu.
So between 50 to 150. And maybe uta apply shule moja. Maybe typically I usually advise students maybe you apply maybe to like maybe 2 or 3 schools because unaweza apply shule moja alafu unyimwe.
Yes.
So on average, maybe around kama ni shule maybe mbili tatu, maybe around $200.
Yes.
So you're an application to the schools. So there is also something called entrance exams.
Yes.
If you are going for a master's program, you need to do an exam called either GMAT or GRE.
Yes.
If you are going to a business school, if you are going to pursue a program that is domiciled within a business school, you need to do an exam called GMAT. GMAT basically means Graduate Management Admissions Test. Ni exam to test your IQ levels. Hesabu na kizungu. Kama hesabu wewe amsikizanangi, that's not your thing because utaanguka miguu juu. Alafu kuna exam inaitwa GRE. GRE means Graduate Records Examination.
Yes.
That you do that if you are going to any other program that is a master's tu yenye iko kwa business school.
Yeah.
So business school I mean like for example if you want to do like for example like nilikuwa nimeenda kufanya MBA, so hiyo ningefanya GMAT. But kama unaenda for example kufanya like a Master of Science in Mathematics, you'll have to do like a GRE. So your exam they cost money. GMAT ina cost $250, GRE ina cost $220.
Na ukifail ukirudia unalipia tena.
Ukifail unarudia tena.
Na unalipia tena.
Unalipia exam tena. So that's another cost, part of the relocation.
Yes.
So there's also something called evaluation of transcript. So evaluation of transcript is basically because unajua transcript zetu za uni hapa si kama za huko majuu.
Yes.
So when the universities are looking at your qualifications or your credentials, they try to align what you've done with the grading scale ya huko.
Yes.
Naitangwa GPA.
Yes.
So sometimes the school will ask you to convert transcripts zako zimatch with what they have on the other side, so I can be able now to evaluate kama you fit into umefika kiwango yenye inatakikana kuingia kwa
kulingana na system yao sasa.
Exactly. Yeah, so that evaluation of transcript would cost you around $250.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, tumeongea application ya shule, evaluation of transcript, you know, zima GRE, hiyo ni cost ya kurelocate. Also, when you get an admission to a school, most universities out there, they want you to reserve that spot hata before upate visa.
Yes.
It's called enrollment deposit, which basically in a range between, kuna universities who has a chance as low as 200 na zingine to as high as $2,000.
Wow.
$2,000, man. Hiyo ni pesa ngapi ukipiga hesabu ya Kenya? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Na hujapata visa.
Yes.
Okay. They want to, they want you basically to pay this amount na bado hujapata visa. But it's usually your enrollment deposit, they usually refund it,
okay,
just in case you get denied visa. But still, it's money that you have to find up front.
Yes.
So that's another cost. And then now there's the visa itself. Visa hapa ya America, for example, American, it's $185.
Yes.
You have to figure out where to get that money.
Yes.
Alafu kuna cost ya something called service.
Yes.
Service is pretty much like ni cost tu yenye inalipa as part of your visa, but it's paid to migration agency back in the US and you ina manage student records ukienda huko. It's $350 that you have to pay. Now, once you get your visa, before uende, you need to do medicals.
Yes.
Kufanywa sijui sijui immunizations, hizo vitu zote.
Yes.
Test sijui what, TB, all those things. It cost money, around $200. Also, kuna pesa ya kutafuta ndege, because huwezi enda na nduthi ama basi.
Lazima uende na ndege.
Utaenda na ndege.
Utake usitake.
Utake usitake, utaenda na ndege. Ndege, for example, right now actually we are booking students when wanaenda August. It's usually very expensive around this time, depending with where you are going, in a cost between $1,500 to even $2,000.
Yes.
Unaweza piga hii hesabu uone ni pesa ngapi ya Kenya.
$2,000, that is $260K.
Imagine.
Wow.
Hiyo ni flight ticket. Sasa ukifika pande ile, also before you register for your classes, especially America, universities always register for classes kama una something called insurance, because health insurance huko America, I mean health care America, it's very expensive in as much as it's good.
Yes.
So you need health insurance na hiyo inaweza kukost around $1,200. Okay, that's part of the relocation cost unafaa figure out. Then of course also utafika shule aje kutoka kwa airport mpaka shule. America is very big.
Yes.
Unaweza kuta kwenye unatoka from the airport to your school, it's like kama shule yenye nilienda, it's like 2 hours drive.
Kutoka kwa airport
mpaka shule.
Ni kama umefika Nairobi alafu
uende Nakuru. Actually, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Na unajua kwanza hata ni mbali, cause unajua huko majuu huko, for example like kama US, barabara ziko poa, they are very wide, so unaona ukispend like 2 hours kwa barabara, hey my friend, umeenda sana. Yeah, because also the country is very vast.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to figure out hiyo pesa utapata wapi. Unajua you have to take Uber ama arrange with the school shuttle and all that. Nothing is free. America, unajua saa zingine watu wanadhani vitu ni free, but unajua that's also a capitalist country.
Yes.
So you have to figure out. Then also kwenye utakaa ukifika shule, where will you stay? Accommodation America, your student, it's averagely, this is shared accommodation, it's around $700 a month. Yes. The shared accommodation, ile mnakaa like for example maybe 4 students, ka apartment, like a 4-bedroom apartment, kila mtu ako na nini yake, room yake, alafu mna share like living room na bathroom na kitchen. Unalipa averagely, inadependa kwenye, kama uko huko New York it's like $1,500, kama uko na huko shared na tunasema ni dollars. Yes.
By the way, kwa mtu ambaye anatazama ukisikia $1,500
usidhani ni Kenya shillings. Yeah.
Hapa bei ni ya
dollar shared.
That is crazy.
It's crazy. And then of course also you have to figure out, maybe the rent deposit.
Yes.
Yeah, the same amount. So averagely maybe $700.
So basically what Kenya Airlift program is doing is you're helping them, unatolea mzigo at hand, like right now.
Hiyo mzigo yote yenye umesikia tukisema, hiyo yote, you basically don't have to figure out utatoa hiyo pesa wapi. Hiyo pesa yote ya relocation, it's about $5,000, which would equate to around maybe 800, 750.
Yes.
So what we do in the Kenya Airlift program, we basically help you in financing that whole process. Pesa ya kusoma huko yenye tulisema ni like 5 million, you don't have to figure out where to get the millions. And then also hii part ya kurelocate, you don't have to worry about all these other funds.
Wow.
So what we basically do is kwa hii ya kurelocate, we normally require students to contribute something small. It's usually $1,100 as a regular student.
Yes.
Una contribute that, you get into the program, and then you go through the process. We'll pay everything that you need, mpaka ya ticket, kila kitu, uko sorted. Once you succeed, upate visa, uko sorted. Ukifika pande ile ingine, what we normally do in the program, we have lenders, partners, kutoka huko US, basically a bank, wenye wanatusaidia na hiyo pesa, hiyo milioni yenye tulikuwa tunasemea, and we are able now to facilitate students waweze kupata hiyo pesa also as a loan. Usually our loans are usually unsecured.
Kuleta ng'ombe,
uhitaji kutafuta sijui garanta sijui nani unless maybe credit yako si poa. Unajua saa zingine, by the way, so it's a very important thing kwa saa zingine unakuta a lot of people hapa, mtu hata anakataa kulipa like 200 shillings ama dhao unawekwa kwa CRB. Imagine. Na hiyo unajua inakucost sana. So it's very very important. Young people out there, please. Pay your pay your dues.
Yes.
Kama umekopeshwa kwa kitu lipa tu. Because that one can really mess up later on.
Yes.
So usually help inanga shida, because actually help hata huwa it doesn't appear anywhere on the credit report. We normally run your credit report tuangalie tuone kama you can be financed. Na with that we are able to finance the students. Also additionally, by the way, universities, we have partnership with universities on the other side.
Yes.
About 25 right now, and some of them also give us scholarships.
Yes. Not
necessarily like full, but tunakuta for example, if a school maybe kusoma huko inaweza cost like 4 million or 5 million, inaweza kuta maybe some of the universities they are waiving like $1 million just because you are part of the program.
Yes.
So those are the things that we do in the program in terms of the financing. Then also the most other important thing within the program is career support.
Yes.
Because venye umesikia venye nilikuja huko, me I was struggling to figure out things.
Yes.
And most of the time when you're on your own, you know, you don't know. And for us, what we've really done is to build a big community over there. Na tunasaidia, you know, we guide you through.
Yes.
You are basically not on your own.
Yes.
Ukifika huko America, for example, most of the universities that we have built big communities around those universities. Unakuta, for example, some of the classes, unakuta like at least a third of the students no students wa program yetu.
Wow.
So umeenda huko umekuta Wakenya wengine mnachapa story, mko tu kama Kenya lakini So, and in fact actually we share a lot of that information, a lot of stories for our students on our YouTube channel. Then your audience can be able to see that.
Yes.
So big communities. So that's really what we help in the Kenya Airlift program.
Wow.
In a nutshell.
That is really inspiring to see that you can actually be able to do that for someone ambaye hajiwezi. And these loans, they're coming with low interest, I hope. Wakenya wanaogopa interest sana.
You see now, and I understand also those concerns about the interest. You see now, when also somebody is giving you unsecured loan,
yes,
you know, it's a very risky loan. If you as a student, if you put yourself in the shoes of the person who is giving you the money, huyo mtu amekutrust akusaidie ukuje Amerika na una kazi yoyote, umekuja tu kama student na ajui kama utakuja uende Amerika alafu utoroke na loan yako urudi huku Kenya. Unajua ukikuja huku Kenya hata we can't even figure out where you are. And for example, for our tuition and living expenses funding, our students are able to get up to $100,000. That's a lot of money. $100,000, yes. That's like 13 million. Around 13 million. Our loan here at relocation cost we give for about $5,000, usually like around $5,000. But still also still a substantial amount of money. So that comes with a little bit of high interest. But of course, when you compare to the Kenyan interest rates, the banks, it's much better. Because as your relocation, we normally, because that is usually, we give it directly from my company now, from the Kenya Life program. It's usually 1% per month, which is like 12% per annum. Ni kama tu retain una most of the SACCOs hapa huwa zinapatiana. And then interest za hiyo loan ingine for the other side, the bigger loan. In a range between 9% to around 14 hapo.
Okay.
Yeah, depending with also what you are doing, your risk levels and all those things.
Nimefika US sahi through the Kenya Airlift program. Na umeshanipatia the loans and everything and nimeanza kusoma. How long will it take now for me to start paying back the loan?
Very good question. So when it comes to paying back your loan, so the bigger loan hiyo ya kusoma sasa ya tuition and living expenses, our lenders require you to pay for 10 years. 6 months after you graduate, udalipa for the next 10 years. So the assumption is that you can stick around in the US. Kwenye ulienda kusoma sasa. So for 10 years, hii yetu ya relocation, haka kadogo ka relocation, we normally give it for 2 years. So ukifika US 6 months later, naanza kulipa for the next 2 years.
Now, I'm sure it's a good opportunity for many students and many people would actually want to pursue higher education. But I also want to understand, unajua, as you said, it's a very high risk venture. What are some of the challenges that you are going through? You're like, these are challenge in this program.
So there's been a lot of challenges. First, when we started the program, so year 2018, we didn't have any, just like any new venture, we didn't have any success stories then. And ulikuwa unaongea na mtu naambia naweza kupeleka majuu but anakuuliza umepeleka nani? Yaani mtu anaikuwa yeye umepeleka wangapi? Kwanza in fact actually hata kwa hii show lazima tuseme ni wangapi tumepeleka so that and how even to go and find those guys because the first thing that somebody will ask you is ni wangapi wamekuwa successful. Huwezi niambia ati utanipea loans because most of the time actually it used to sound like it was too good to be true. And so 2018 we enroll only 3 students. Imagine umeanza kitu, I had quit my job that was paying me so well, started this thing, and then the whole year it's only 3 students who actually believe in you.
Na si eti wameleta pesa, ni loan umewapea.
Na unawapea loan. So unajua sasa there is that initial contribution tulisema 1,100 which they have to commit. Kwa saa zingine unajua watu also wanataka like everything free. I always tell people like in this life there is nothing that is entirely free. Also even you at the end of the day it can't be the other party ndio ana risk ni pande yao. Wewe hakuna risk unataka. Something also you have to put in something, it's a two-way thing. Put in a little bit of some risk also, and then that's how things work. So, tulieka 3 people per program, and one of them, actually someone who was related to me as a family.
So you had 2.
So it was easy to convince him.
Okay, I would really love to know, apart from this person who was your relative, how wengine wawili, I'm sure unawakumbuka. You do remember them, right?
Yes.
Because you have to remember the first 2 people.
I do, yes.
How are they faring on?
They are faring actually very well. They also left for the US. So, you see, that process also of going, it usually takes like very long sometimes. Averagely, we expect a student to relocate within a year, but sometimes it can take long, especially even those early days, because there are so many things that I had to figure out. So some of the students those days they would take like 2 years and all that. Kama sasa wenye wa kwanza wenye walikuja walienda America 2020 January. So one of the students is doing very well. She's working somewhere in Chicago. Another student mwenye alikuja around that time, he actually works for us as the manager of the program. The other student is also somewhere working. So those early students, they are still wako tu sawa. Then 2019 we enrolled like 12 students, like 1 student on a monthly basis, which is still not
bad, not good.
Then COVID ikakuja for like 2 years, closed everything.
Nothing.
Yeah, so then the program bounced back around 2021, 2022. So fast forward, we have about 500 students currently in the US.
Wow.
We have been having a lot of graduations now because like just recently in May, we had like around 60 students who are graduating from different universities. Most of them, they are taking, you know, there's something called optional practical training. I don't want to go too technical into these things, but it's pretty much when you graduate from school, the government allows you to look for work related to what you studied. Alafu hapo ndio unaanza kutafuta makazi, and that's how you can be able to stay there. But most of the challenges that tumepata outside of the initial, you know, initial days.
Yes.
Also, you know, also when most of the people out there, when they join programs like this, there's usually that expectation that it's kind of like they want you to guarantee them
that they're going to,
that they'll go.
Yes, yes, yes.
You understand? Like mtu anakuambia, for example, if I put in $1,100 to get into this program, am I guaranteed to go on the other side? Am I guaranteed to go to America? Am I guaranteed to go the other side? And that's usually a big challenge because I always tell students, like, there is nothing guaranteed.
Yes.
Actually, I usually say, like, there is nothing guaranteed in life outside of taxes and death.
True.
Because there's aspects of this program that we have no control of us as a company.
Yes.
One of them is visas. And like I said earlier, personally, I was denied visa 4 times.
Yes.
I got my visa at the 5th attempt. I went to America.
Yes.
So we get students who get denied visas. Yes. In fact, actually, visa chances typically as Africans, they are not that good.
Yes.
Reason being, we are basically, you know, for a lack of a better word, we are poor. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, when you are poor, you know, there are chances of being denied kuingia huko, you know, because at the end of the day, the US government, you know, kama if you are coming from these rich countries, hawana shida na wewe.
Sisi wa third world.
Sisi wa third world, my friend, like you really have to be really, really good.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to be sure that you are a very genuine student. Like you have to really prove yourself that you are a genuine student. Because what happens is, most people, by the way, they present documents to the embassy. Anybody can present a bank statement, a loan document, whatever, and claim they are a student. So, in fact, actually, I always tell students, most of the time, actually, the embassy want to hear from you. Like, they will ask you, for example, why are you going? Like, you have to be really, really good in articulating the reasons why you are going to study. Not necessarily what you are giving them. Sijui bank statements, sijui 10 million. They don't care. Because even those times that I used to be denied visa, mimi shida ikuwa pesa. Shida actually ilikuwa kuongea.
Kijana wa village ameenda embassy.
Nilikwambia mimi nilikuwa mshamba. Kuongea ilikuwa shida. And that actually one of the things that we normally have even with students in the program.
Yes.
Unakuta we have like really brilliant guys kwa program, but haezi express vizuri sana akifika hapo embassy. And even within the program actually you have a very, very intensive visa coaching program that we normally do for the student, because at the end of the day I don't want you to come through the program and then you don't get the visa.
Yes.
But the fact is you can get denied visa, and we get those denials, and some of the time when someone gets denied aski vizuri. Unajua sasa especially kama wewe umeenda huko umeanza kusema mimi naenda majuu. Unajua kama mimi venye nilianza hiyo process ya kwenda majuu, nilikuwa nimeambia kila mtu before hata upate visa umeenda kuambia everybody in your village, you know. Unaenda majuu. Unaenda majuu. Mimi naambianga kwanza watu usiende kusema huko nje tunaenda kama hujapata visa, because kuna hata those village witches.
That's very true.
Unajua? Those village witches, my friend. Watakukanyagia, utapata hiyo visa.
Sema unaenda ukishaland huko.
Ukipata tu visa hivi, sema unaenda.
Hiyo uko sure.
At least uko sure, yeah, but don't say that you are going anywhere. Because me bana, mimi unajua sasa mimi by the time tumalize class form 4, nilikuwa nimeambia kila mtu naenda. 2 years later niko tu. Mnapatana na mtu aya uzaienda.
Wewe ni muongo sana.
You know? So you don't want that to be happening to you. So hata kama unaanza hii process, wewe nyamaza tu, you know, and then once you get things sorted out, then you know, anza kuambia watu. So that's a big challenge when it comes to visas, and of course that expectation that, you know, it's kind of like a guaranteed thing. Yeah, and we find a lot of people are usually not very patient with the process. And I usually like telling students, man, I mean, this process requires a lot of patience and being resilient.
Yes.
Yeah, because, you know, in this life, there is nothing that is usually like, you know, very easy, like kupata. You can't just ask and then you are given all the time. Even for us and you, Bana, you know, we work so hard, we do a lot of things. There's so many doors that you go and knock, and you get no's.
Yes.
In fact, actually, most of the time, especially when you are like an entrepreneur, you knock so many doors and it's always a no.
No's.
Yeah, so many no's, and 1 yes will make all the difference. So that's really what I always like telling these guys. But yeah, that's usually a big challenge when it comes to the program.
Interest to actually know, once I pay the $1,100, and basically I go through all the tests, I pass my exams, but I get denied the visa. As I continue trying to apply for the visa, and am I doing this still under, you know, let's say 2 years later, am I still doing this under Kenya Airlift program, or do I need to pay any other amount? Very
good question. So normally there is a few things that if for example, if you, let's say you get into the program, you are sitting for this GMA GRE exam, there's a pass mark that we have within the program. It's very achievable. If you don't get it, you have to repeat for you to progress with the process. For when you repeat, you pay again. Because umeanguka. Na hiyo exam ni 250 GMAT, GRE ni 220. So you pay again. And ni dollars. Si Kenya shilling, ni dollars. Alafu kuna, for example, ukienda visa, most of our students actually get visas on the first attempt, but there is quite a number, of course, also who get visas at the second attempt, third attempt, and even fourth. Actually, there's a student, the last student when tulipeleka in January, there's a student there who got his visa at the fourth attempt. So you get those cases. Unakuta maybe you hata uko kwa hii process, in as much as you are saying it's like a year. Unaweza kuta uko kwa program for like 3 years before upate visa. Yeah, depending with how good you are. But if you get denied visa, then of course you reapply again. Embassy itakurudishia pesa.
Of course.
So you have to find that money. But you still remain within the program. So utaenda kutafuta sijui another 1,100 hapana. So it's those other things. For example, every time you go to the visa for the visa, basically you have to pay again, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is quite you know, interesting to see the way the Kenya Airlift program does you know, take students from Kenya to the US to the UK through all those procedures, and you actually take care of I'd say over 90% of whatever is needed. And I also want to understand, because earlier on, I think you had mentioned to me off camera that you also have students who are not only from Kenya. You're having people from Togo, you know, from other parts of Africa. Maybe if there's someone who's watching and they are in another country, do you still take students, you know, from other countries apart from Kenya?
Yeah, actually it's true that we've been having a lot of interest from other nationalities. Kuna students who are like Togo, already wako US, Tanzania, you have a few students. You have a few students from Zambia. You get a lot of students from Ghana, Nigeria, and also Sierra Leone. They usually reach out to us because I can also have like some following on social media, on Facebook and a little bit on YouTube. So somehow they find us uko and they reach out. So with that, imefika mahali sasa we want to rebrand the program to be able to accommodate those other students. Because as in as much as we accept them into the program, the fact that program in Itangwa Kenya, the Kenya Airlift program, it's like they usually don't feel part of it.
Yeah.
So what we are trying to do is we are trying to rebrand the program into International Scholars Program.
Okay.
So we are in the process of that. Actually, there's been a lot of effort in terms of our digital footprint, changing the names and things like those. Our YouTube channel, unaweza kuta imeandikwa the International Scholars Program before it was the Kenya ILF program. Our new offices, branding and all that, it's the International Scholars Program. So that's really where we are heading to. But officially, we expect all this to be completed by January.
By January.
Next year, yeah. So anybody out there who is watching us, in as much as we are talking about the Kenya Airlift program, you search the Kenya Airlift program on the internet, you'll be able to get it. You can apply, you can read our handbook. But also if you search the International Scholars Program, although it's a very new domain, so unaweza ipata like 3-4 pages on Google.
Later,
But hii ingine Kenya
optimization,
so lazima ipande. So that's also why we are giving ourselves enough time. By the time maybe by January huko, maybe itakuwa zimepanda. So we will be known as the International Scholar, the International Scholars Program from then. So we're in the process of transitioning, rebranding.
Okay. Is there just interested to know, is there a specific time you know that you should actually be applying, ama any time of the year you can actually apply?
Very good question. So normally to join the program, we take students on a daily basis because like I said, the process takes on average a year. It can take longer depending with how your progress is. So, but in terms of the intakes for schools, we have 2 intakes. There's the August and there's the January intake. Like right now, we are processing students who are going to school in August. So ndio tumekuwa tunafanya, we've been doing the admissions and visas and all those things. But we expect to take about 150 students.
This month?
Yeah, next month.
Next month.
Actually, some of them will start leaving at the end of this month. We have a party for them. Normally, by the way, we normally have like a luncheon every year.
Yes.
Yeah, we call it the Kenya ILF program annual luncheon. We've been holding it at the Safari Park Hotel every year, but right now, this time we are at the Pan-Afric, Sarova Pan-Afric. Next week, but one. Yeah, so, and that event is usually our signature event where we normally celebrate students who have gotten visas and who are relocating to the US.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's usually August and January. August is our biggest intake. January, ni ile tu si kwangi big intake for most of the schools. Unaweza kuta take maybe like 100 or even less than that.
Wow. Pengine kwa mtu ambaye anataka kukuja physically kuongelesha, physically to get to know the procedure, physically of course to pay. Where are your offices located?
So we are currently located in Westlands. Tuko na ofisi hapo place inaitwa The Mirage, Tower 1, 8th floor. That office is located next to GTC, the tallest building in the country.
In the country right now.
Hapo tu off Waiyaki. Ni Waiyaki ama inaitwa?
Yeah, Waiyaki.
Yeah, so we just moved in there. Tulikuwa another place on hizo pande za Thika Road, but tumekuja hapo Muthaiga. I mean hapo
Mirage,
Mirage, the Mirage. So that's where we are. That's where you can find us. We also have our biggest office, which is our operations hub, is in Meru. So that's where all things happen.
The headquarters.
The program, in as much as hiyo ndio the hub and it's the biggest office, of course our headquarters iko huko US. So we also have an office in Tampa, Florida.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have some team there. Hapa Nairobi sasa, hapa hii office yetu hapa Nairobi iko mostly our engineering team who help us build our systems. And then we have also customer service team, just in case ukuja hapo and you have inquiries, we have our team there. It's a smaller office than the one is in Meru. The Meru one is quite big because that's where everybody is. Our career advisory team, funding advisory, these guys who help run the whole show program.
Is there a specific probably phone number or one of the phone numbers that you can actually share, or maybe they can check on the website?
Actually, me phone numbers is jui. US ndio najua. But what you can do, if you are interested in getting into the program, so what you need to do is you go to our website.
Yes.
It's the Kenya Airlift program. You just go there, www.kenyaairliftprogram.com. Program you spell as PROGRAM. Na ndiko tu kama pande ile, because si ile program ingine ya MME. Yeah, so ukienda kwa hiyo website, you'll be able to see our phone numbers za Nairobi, za Meru, zote hapo. Zetu za US.
Yes.
And of course also, even if you search the International Scholars Program, you'll find the same, pretty much the same information.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the website that we'll be using from January moving forward.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are our contact details. Natupigia. If you want to come to the office, you can come directly there. Our team will be there and can be able to answer all the questions that you may have. Also, we do normally have a Telegram group. So when you go to our website and you try to download our program handbook, there's a link there and it can take you to our Telegram group. And that group, you can join it, and then our team will be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, I'm going to actually pin all those links.
Yeah.
You know, the Facebook one, the website, the Telegram link. I'm going to pin them in the comment section and also in the description, so that you can actually be able to get the right links to access the Kenya Airlift program. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for actually enlightening us. For me, I didn't know kuna kitu kama hii inaendelea. You know,
that's why I need to do more work.
Yeah. Mimi sikujua
watu wazuri.
Mimi sikujua watu wanaweza wakapelekwa huko US, you know, by only paying $1,100 and you're getting this whole loan. I mean, it's a very big opportunity for any Kenyan out there, for any African out there. And maybe my last question would be, kwa watu ambao, you know, they're not in Kenya, probably they're in Qatar, UAE, and they have done their undergrad, and they're like, I think this is a program that would fit me. Do you still have space for them?
Yeah, actually, we get a lot of students when you are outside the country. Yeah, we have students in Dubai, quite a number, huko Gulf, Qatar, those areas, Saudi also. We have students in we have quite a number of students in Israel. For some reason, I don't know, I think there's a program in I think sijui kama iko Nairobi University hapa napeleka students Israel kusoma stories of agriculture. Yeah, so we get a lot of students, those students who are in Israel who want to get into our program and come for masters kusoma huko. Because also agriculture, it's also connected with what we do. Because by the way, something that I didn't say, we normally take students when you're interested in a STEM.
Yes, the STEM program.
Yeah, STEM, basically science, technology, engineering, and math. And when I talk about STEM, sometimes people freak out. Anasema, oh, sijui nini, nilifanya sijui BA, sijui nilifanya BCom, kwani mimi siwezi ingia kwa hii program. So, in fact, actually, in as much as, yes, we take students who are interested in pursuing STEM for their masters, you can join the program with any undergraduate major.
Yes.
Hata kama ulikuwa umefanya nini, you can join as long as you're someone who is interested in pursuing STEM. Reason being, STEM skills, they are very marketable everywhere across the world. And then also, because of the fact that if you are pursuing a STEM program in the US, you get a work authorization of 3 years, up to 3 years. A typical, just a regular program will give you about 1 year of work authorization as a student, so which is a big deal. You want to, most of the students out there, they want to go there, look for opportunities to stay there, you know. And that gives you an edge when it comes to those things.
Wow. Thank you so much. Kuna kitu sijakuuliza, unataka kuaddress, unataka kuelezea?
Actually, I don't think so. I think tumechapa story yote. Yeah, so for anybody who is out there and they are thinking of, you know, pursuing this journey of going and studying abroad, whether through a program or just on your own, my advice is that process is not as straightforward as sometimes people tend to think. It's a process that requires a lot of patience and a lot of resilience. Because if you're not patient, you're going to be very frustrated. Kwa saa zingine sasa maybe uanguke GMAT. Kama mimi nilikuwa nimeanguka GMAT by the way nikarudia. hiyo exam ni kali. So, si mchezo. So uanguke and then sasa unaona mtu ameanguka alafu they give up so easily. So you have to be very very patient. Also you have to be very resilient. In the sense that ukianguka, you wake up, you dust yourself and keep on moving. Because like I said, even me personally, I was denied visa 4 times. So if I never kept on pushing, singekuwa hapa nikijaribu kusaidia other bright Kenyan students. So so that's really my advice to anybody out there who is watching me. And kama uko hapo and you want to follow me and see what we do, you know, I'm also on social media. I'm on Facebook. Facebook unaweza nipata kama Bob Mwiti. Niko TikTok, I think, niko X. Na niko Telegram, same names, Bob Mwiti. So kila mahali Bob Mwiti. Na kwa YouTube, our name for the YouTube channel is the International Scholars Program. Wow.
I'm going to pin those links as said earlier on. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob, for coming. Nimeshukuru sana. Thank you also, and big shout out to you for the big opportunity you're giving, you know, to all African students out there. Mimi naitwa presenter Ali, your entertainment PA, the Ace for Amazing. What I do urge you right now is if you are interested in the program, check the links in the description, get to know the ways that you can actually access. Now ujipange tu kidogo and come, and it's going to change your life. I mean, look at what Bob is doing. Imagine if you get 10 Bobs, 20 Bobs, 100 Bobs, we can change the whole of Africa. Behind the camera, we have Franca, the director. I'll see you guys in the next episode.